to life. I'm here to stay. I'm here to stay.
Injuries are hopefully beginning to ease, but the difficult fixtures most definitely are not. We head to Sheffield Wednesday today with a near-depleted squad. It's going to be a very tough afternoon. All we can do is puff out our chests and give it our all. Coming up in today's show, we will speak exclusively to the gaffer, Johnny Jackson, and midfielder George Dobson. We'll also look back at Tuesday's defeat against MK Dons, and we'll reflect on an off-the-pitch positive from last weekend's game here at the Valley. Can't believe we've got Brownie on there, can you, Kurt?
What was his result like? They couldn't find any blood.
No, his result was very positive, as was mine. But look, alongside Curbs and myself, delighted to say we have the former Academy graduate. Welcome to Charlton TV, Osei Sankofa. Osei, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Great to be here.
Looking forward to today?
Yeah, really looking forward to it. Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Someone is.
We all are, Curbs, of course we are. I mean, look, Jacko's had to blood the youngsters in recent weeks. Do you remember blooding this youngster in?
Yeah, I mean...
And do you remember how long ago that was? 18 years.
I was going to go longer than that. But, you know, there was a pathway then, probably similar to what it is now, a pathway. Obviously, when we got in the Premier League, it was a little bit more difficult. But, yeah, there was always youngsters getting an opportunity, weren't there? You weren't the only one. No. Who was in the group with you?
So we would have had Stacey Long, Lloyd Sam, Carl Beckford, Alex Varney, and then you had a few others. Michael Turner was a year above me, Jamal Camel-Rice a couple of years above me. So there was a lot of good quality young players at the time.
Jamal, legends. I like Jamal a lot. Still involved in football as well, aren't you? Tell us what you're up to.
I am still involved in the game, off the pitch now. So I'm working at the Premier League. My role there largely involves coach development. So our very broad remit is to improve the quality and also the diversity of coaching in English professional football. So we work right across Premier League and Category 1 clubs, working with their coaches, making sure that pipeline of great young players at the top level that's been coming through in the last 10 years continues. So.
How big a job is that? And do you feel you're making waves into it?
Yeah, it's obviously a massive job because everyone wants to catch up with the English Premier League. So it's a huge job to try and keep the quality on top. But luckily we have the resources, we have the personnel, and as long as we're humble and keep doing what we're doing and keep looking to improve as well, then it should be a rosy future for English football.
It's interesting because many years ago there was complaints about the lack of young English, British players coming through in the Premier League. I always remember Richard Scudamore saying at the time, they will come through at some stage. You know, you've got to make sure the academies are working, etc., etc. And when they come through, there'll be such a talent to get in their sides. We'll have really some top players. And that's what's happening now. You know, you're looking at Grealish, Foden, etc. Players are coming through and managing to get into their first teams. Such a quality, they're basically in the England team straight away.
Absolutely, set the standard high. Do you still keep an eye out for Charlton's scores, if not the performances?
Absolutely, it's one of the first scores that I look for most weeks. I still find it difficult sometimes looking at where the club currently are in the table, and also
so do we, Osei, so do we.
And also in the pyramid as well. But no, it's definitely one of the results that I look out for, and I'm well aware that we need a good result today as well.
Hopefully you bring us 3 points, or at least a point, which I think we'll settle for, because it's a tough one today, isn't it? Sheffield Wednesday in a really good vein of form. Didn't play midweek.
Yeah, nice and fresh. Yeah.
They'll be up for this, won't they?
Well, they will be, and especially when the team sheet comes through, because we've been saying for some time the injuries are massive. I'm not quite sure. When Jacko took over at Sunderland, the team he put out that day to what the team is now, must be at least 5 or 6 players that are missing. So that's the difficulty. But it's the forward line, especially, because it looks as if we're really struggling to score a goal, and as soon as we let one in, perhaps, you know, that's game over. So let's hope it changes today, and we can get our noses in front and have something to defend.
Well, the slight good news is that Sheffield Wednesday also have strikers out, so we'll see how that one goes. OK, kick-off less than 45 minutes away. Let's get cracking, shall we? And I spoke to Jacko via Zoom a little bit earlier. Jacko, good to see you. Let's start by rewinding the clock back a decade or so, and Hillsborough brings back some nice memories for you, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. I've always enjoyed playing here. I think it's one of the great stadiums in English football, isn't it? And it's, for me personally, obviously, I've had some good experiences here. Always enjoyed my football. What a great place to come and play and now manage.
We're also talking about the 1-0 free kick you scored back in January 2012. We went on to win the League One title, and Sheffield Wednesday finished second.
Yeah, it was a good year. It was a good game. Remember it well. They was a big rival of ours that year. Them and Sheffield United as well. So it was nice to obviously put one over them that day. Hopefully, 10 years on, someone else can do the same today.
Yeah, well, let's talk about present day, shall we? And I think it's fair to say no one can fault the effort with the MK Dons performance. But, I mean, how much impact are these injuries having?
Yeah, it's made it really difficult, Scott. There's no getting away from it. I've spoke a lot about it. You know, we are depleted, especially, you know, that part of the pitch, probably the most important part, you know, where you need to put the ball in the net, which we haven't done in the last couple of games. So it's made it difficult, but like you say, the lads are fully committed. They are giving everything, and it's not going our way at the minute. But it will turn. It will turn. Whether that's today, and when we get players back, and we're able to, you know, get what we would deem a full strength team out there. We compete with anyone. We've shown that. And even when we haven't had that, we've competed in most games as well, and had really good periods. So we need to do the same again. Yeah, like I've said, just keep working hard, keep working, and you work your way through these little slumps.
Yeah, has there been any let-up injury-wise, and how are we lining up today?
Well, Jaden trained Thursday, Friday with us, so he makes the bench. And Scotty Fraser managed to join in training yesterday as well. So again, obviously he's been out with COVID and hasn't been able to do much training, but he makes the bench as well. So, you know, perhaps two that we can maybe bring on later stages of the game. But 2 changes to the 11 as well. Ben Purrington coming back in, and Elliot Lee coming back into the team as well.
Listen, we are on a tough run of that, there's no doubt. I mean, it doesn't get any easier today. Sheffield Wednesday on a good run of form and hunting down the playoffs as well. What are you expecting from them?
Yeah, really tough game, like you said. Got a lot of good players, really, really big squad, and lots of quality in it to choose from there for Darren. So, yeah, they can chop and change personnel. They have a set way of playing that obviously we've looked at and we've worked on and tried to find ways of combating it. But we know, we're in a tough game. It's always a difficult place to come, especially with them being on good form, and obviously they'll be eyeing up, making a charge for those playoffs there. So they'll be looking at it as a game that they can win, and I'm looking at it as a game that we can win.
Just finally, the way things are going at the moment, talking about the injuries, the position where we are in the table at the moment, there'll be over 1,000 people travelling to Hillsborough.
Scotty, you've got to start again. I couldn't hear any of that. Something come over the tannoy there and was deafening.
OK, mate, I will. I mean, just a final one. Look, given how things are at the moment in terms of where we are in the league and injuries, which we've just talked about as well, there will be over 1,000 supporters travelling to go and cheer the team on. I mean, the message to them, it's amazing that they're still supporting, isn't it?
Unbelievable, yeah. The way that they come and support and get behind us in their numbers, just obviously, thank them again for their support. Really, really appreciate it. It really does help and make a difference. And obviously, again, we'll be doing our utmost to try and send them away with a smile on their face.
Brilliant, Jacko. Good luck.
Cheers, Scott.
I think you'd had enough of me and my questions curves. That's what it is.
Just press that button.
Exactly. I know you want to do that with me a few times as well. So look, there's the team sheet. 2 changes from Tuesday. Ben comes in for Juan Castillo and Elliot comes in for Jonathan Lecco. Great to see Jaden Stockley and Scott Fraser on the bench. And for those of you who thought Ryan Innes would come back, well, he is struggling with the thigh injury, so we'll have to wait and see how long that goes for. But what do you make of that 11, Curbs?
Well, it's obviously the same shape that we've been playing since Jacko's took over, really, but there's a lot on Elliot Lee, I think, to get in there to help Burstow when the ball gets in the box, and Gilby, really, to get in there as well. It's funny, really, we're concentrating on the fact that the forwards are out and we're not scoring many goals. I think we've got to work double harder on not conceding.
Absolutely.
Because that's the biggest problem we've got. Once we let one in, we've all been there. You get that feeling, once one's gone in, how we're going to get back into this game. So I think first and foremost, let's concentrate on defending first.
Is that perhaps why you got 2 full-backs as wing-backs as well, whereas in the recent past, we've had wingers there, haven't we?
Absolutely, and I think that Purrington's more suited as a wing-back than perhaps the left centre-half. And Matthew's been caught out a couple of times recently, so he needs to concentrate when we're in the defensive third. But it's a experienced side, except until you get up top, isn't it? And you know, the young boy Burstow, he needs a bit of help, and I'd like to see him get a goal. You know, because I think that will give him so much confidence.
Also, it's going to be difficult, but I mean, we saw Mason come off clutching his hamstring on Tuesday, didn't we? So lucky for us, it's just cramp.
Yeah, I was shocked to see his name on the team sheet today, and we were speaking off air that, you know, sometimes cramp can be a prelude to, you know, a real injury. So hopefully that's not the case today, and that he goes and puts on a good performance and uses all of that youthful exuberance and pace and aggression that he has, and hopefully nick something on the break and get the team a much needed goal. And as you both already said, you know, it's really important to keep it as tight as possible at the back to give that platform to try and get a result today. Yeah,
I mean, look, there's no doubt it's a big jump up from the under-23s to men's football, and Mason's body's probably still coming to terms with that. Let's take a look at the league table now, shall we? And we obviously have to start in the bottom half. We are 16th, 39 points, 9 above the relegation zone, 4 above Lincoln, who are 17th. If we win this afternoon, we could go 15th. Accrington and Burton both dropped a place on Tuesday as Cambridge went into the top half by beating Plymouth. Got to ask you, Curb, some fans are worried we're in a relegation scrap. Are we?
We are, if we don't arrest this run we're having. We've got to pick something up quickly. Like Sheffield Wednesday today, Sunderland next week. Just got a new manager, bring a lot of fans here. Then we start playing the lesser lights, and we've got to pick 3 points
up. And
they're
the teams around us.
That's it, absolutely. We've got to pick 3 points up just to, you know, take the pressure off and to stop this run. You know, it's no good as it was 4 on the spin. You know, then it starts getting 5 or 6, it starts getting serious.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at the top half then, shall we? Today's opponents, Sheffield Wednesday, are at 8th, but just a point off the playoffs, who have played 2 games less as well than Sunderland, who occupy that final playoff spot. Rotherham continue to pave the way at the top, unbeaten in 9 now in all competitions, having beaten Morecambe 2-0 midweek. Wigan are 6 points behind with 2 games in hand. MK Dons have established themselves in 3rd. Both Sunderland and Wycombe are now winless in 6, which has opened the door for the likes of Sheffield Wednesday, Ipswich and Bolton, who are all in good form. I mean, also, you have to say, that playoff race looks so exciting, doesn't it? Who do you fancy, and how far does it go down?
Well, I mean, the amount of teams there all clustered together, it looks unbelievable. I think you'd have to look right down up to 10th position, really, at Bolton Wanderers, and then even Portsmouth will still fancy themselves because of those games that you know that they've got in hand. You know, I think Sheffield Wednesday, you know, they will at home they'll be smelling blood today, and you know, it just goes back to the point. It's vital that we do not concede that early goal and not make it too easy for Sheffield Wednesday to climb that table, because they'll have their eyes on 3 points today.
Yeah. Curbs, how do you see it? And I mean, Sunderland and Wycombe winless in 6 now, both of them. How damaging can that be coming into this point of the season?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're having a run at, well, you talk about times when you're going to have a run. If you're going to have it now, because it's the last 8 or 9 games, isn't it, that really count. But listen, every time I see that table, it's the size of clubs.
Yeah.
In this division, you know, we've seen ourselves down in the bottom half, but the size of them clubs, and you know, trying to make it back into the Championship, which, in all fairness, is like a Premier League 2 now as well, isn't it? So we know how tough it is, you know, to get out of a league, and that's showing you how tough it is. Except for them top 2, like Wigan with the games in hands. I've always fancied Wigan since they came here. Rotherham have surprised me, but then really behind them, you know, you could think, you know, if you slipped in anywhere behind them, you wouldn't look out of place.
Yeah.
So it's a bit, you know, that's another disappointment.
OK, full fixture list in League One this afternoon. Huge game in the relegation battle as Wimbledon host Doncaster. Wimbledon now gone 14 league games without a victory. Donny have won 2 of their last 3. 2 of the division's form sides in MK Dons and Bolton go toe-to-toe. Ipswich travel to Morecambe, who confirmed the return of manager Derek Adams on Thursday. He oversaw their promotion-winning campaign last term. And, of course, Sam Lavelle was captain. Table toppers Rotherham travel to Home Park to face Plymouth. And Sunderland, who we play next weekend, have a tough trip to the DW to take on Wigan. Osei, standout games for you?
I can't see much past our game, to be honest. That's for me here personally, and being here today, that's the game that I'm looking at because of the recent run of form and how important it is to get 3 points. That's the game that I'm most focused on today.
I'm hoping Wigan give Sunderland a bit of a beating before they come here.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and that they're in a terrible run at the moment. I know they've changed hands manager-wise, So we don't want them picking up before we play them.
Pressure game, the Wimbledon Donny one as well. If ever there was a 6-pointer, you know, we're getting to that point now.
Yeah,
aren't we?
yeah. I mean, yeah.
You don't want to be playing when you're down there, do you?
No. It's difficult, and the nerves creep in, and it's a bit like us today. We've been saying, can we score first? Can we have something to hold on to? Well, if you score first, are we going to go behind the ball and not get out? You know, because of how serious it is, or you know, how much we need to get a result. So I think it can be a bit nervy for us today.
Yeah, we definitely do not want to get sucked into a relegation battle. OK, more on this afternoon shortly, but let's go to club news updates now, shall we? And we'll start with ticketing news. Tickets for all our home matches in March are now on general sale. We welcome Sunderland to the Valley next Saturday, March the 5th, before hosting Gillingham on Tuesday, March the 15th. Delighted to say that the visit to Burton on Saturday, March the 19th, marks the return of our annual Football for a Fiver initiative, with every seat in the house reduced to just £5. Just go to booking.cafc.co.uk to secure your tickets for all 3 fixtures now. A streaming update, and supporters are reminded that today's game is only available to live stream outside of the UK and Ireland as per EFL broadcasting rules, as is the case with every Saturday 3 p.m. game this season. We can only live stream outside of England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, Jersey, Guernsey, the Isle of Man and the Republic of Ireland. Overseas fans can though purchase a match pass for today's game for just £10 by going to cafc.co.uk. Well, time is running out for supporters to bid for the chance to win a unique piece of Charlton history. Legendary football commentator Clive Tilsley has produced a retrospective commentary chart for the club's iconic playoff final victory over Sunderland in 1998. One copy signed by our very own Alan Curbishley. Have you spoken to Reedy yet?
Whoever wins it,
You'll sort it then.
I'll get Reedy to sign.
I'll stop asking you.
I'll get Reedy to sign his bit.
OK. You can enter an online charity raffle to win the chart, with entries priced at just £5 each. All proceeds raised from the raffle will be donated to Prostate Cancer UK. What a great cause. And you can purchase your raffle tickets now by heading to cafc.co.uk. The online raffle finishes 5 p.m. Monday, so act fast if you want to enter. Well, Charlton's under-18 secured their place in the semi-finals of the Professional Development League Cup last weekend with a 2-0 victory over Barnsley at Sparrows Lane. Second-half strikes from Toby Barra, a penalty there, and Mac Riley sealed the young Addicts' passage through to the last 4, where they will take on one of Wigan, Coventry or Ipswich. Well, followers of the club's TikTok account may have noticed that our latest video went viral last night. Remember this? In less than 24 hours, this clip of a very mischievous ball boy at the Valley last Saturday has accumulated well over 500,000 views. If you're not already following us on TikTok, make sure you do at CAFC Official. Curbs, I know you're on TikTok and you're definitely doing that, aren't you?
What would you have done? I'd have done exactly the same. He was laying on the floor, nothing wrong with him.
No, I wouldn't have said boots of a goose. I would have given it back. I wasn't like that.
Oh, I would have kicked it at him.
You would have done that, would you?
Yeah, I'd have done that, yeah. What about you, mate?
That was his cunning plan, it looks like. That was his plan. I'm going to go viral today.
He did get the crowd going. No, when he's done that as well.
Watching out for him in the future. Good luck to Karen Heels' Addicts tomorrow afternoon, who will welcome WSL side Everton at the Oakwood in Crayford in the 5th round of the Vitality Women's FA Cup. Tickets priced at just £5 for adults, £3 for concessions, with supporters encouraged to buy tickets to get behind us as we target a place in the quarter-final by pulling off a cup upset. The Addicts, who currently are unbeaten in 10 in all competitions, beat Plymouth 6-0 in the previous round, but I get the feeling this will be a lot more difficult. Supporters who cannot attend tomorrow's game at the Oakwood will be able to watch live on Charlton TV or on the club's YouTube channel for free. Charlton TV's Charlotte Richardson will be providing commentary, with coverage starting shortly before kick-off, which is at 1. OK, last Saturday we saw the club host its 3rd annual PSA testing day. Here's how it went.
I feel really proud that of the club, of the staff, of everyone pulling together to get this done, and for all the fans for booking in. It's massive. 400 men today are being tested, so definitely there's going to be lives saved from this.
I started PSA testing just before I hit 15, and now I'm 15. I'm going to be doing it every year. We're at the age where we need to be careful now, we need to look after ourselves. So You're right, to do it at the football club, just before a game as well, I think it's the perfect opportunity for this.
I wouldn't have had one done if Charlton didn't put this on. You know, I'm hitting 50 next birthday, and it's important, you know, and I wouldn't necessarily go to the doctors and get it done. So it's fantastic that Charlton put this on, and results will be the results, but it's important that we raise the awareness, because I'm one of the people that wouldn't go and have this sort of thing done without Charlton putting this on. So it's a very simple test, doesn't hurt, and I think for peace of mind, the earlier you can catch it, the better. So if you haven't had one done and you're in that age range, get it done as quick as you can.
The awareness that came from CharltonTV, encouraging people to come along, is absolutely vital, because at our age we don't like going to the doctors, we don't like making a fuss, so yeah, doing this sort of thing is really important. Just encourage everybody to come along and do it. So.
I've been having the blood test every year for the last 10 years, I think. It's the awareness. That's the point. It's the awareness, and there's been a lot of publicity this week regarding prostate, and you know, for men who, in general, don't go to their doctors when they're ill or they feel they've got any problems. And I think this week it has shown that, yeah, if you don't feel that great or you think you've got a problem, go and see your doctor. But this is the first step, maybe blood test, because prostate is avoidable if you can catch it early enough.
Gentlemen that I've spoken to, they would never have gone for a test unless it's here. They wouldn't go to the doctors, or they can't get an appointment at the doctors. So this is massive. Like, they've just come in, it's taken a couple of minutes to have a blood test, and you know, that's something that they're going to find out. Hopefully they're okay, but if it's not, hopefully we found it enough early for them.
Yeah, TJ organising that. Fantastic work from her. I mean, we were both tested last weekend, Brownie too, as we saw. It is so important just to, even if you feel 100%, you just don't know what's going on, do you, inside you?
Bobby Moore has a golf day every year, and his wife turned up last year and to address all the golfers, and she basically said, look, to the audience, you're all men, like, you know, please do one thing, take anything away from today's great day, go and see your doctor when you don't feel well, because we don't, and you know, we let things linger on, and you know, so something like that the other day is great, because I think a lot of people wouldn't even dreamt of doing it, you know, but because it was available, there's so many people over there having it done, so it's great. Yeah,
there are a lot of people. I mean, we're in the older age bracket, Curbs and I, also you're still young lads, I have to say. I mean, do you feel the younger generation is able to talk about things this more and do more things like that, or is there still a bit of an issue there?
I think even for something like this, I don't think it would be spoken about. Certainly not at my age. I definitely don't class myself as a younger man now. I'm getting into my middle age.
Still are.
My middle age now. Thank you, appreciate that. But I think part of it is also that as men, we sometimes forget that we're not as young as we used to be, and our health isn't what it used to be, and we do have to put those measures in place to make sure that we're checking ourselves. I mean, you know, prostate cancer, and it's in my family. Like, people in my family have suffered from this, so I know how important it is, and particularly for black community as well, where the sufferers are more and worse in that environment. So, yeah, for me, it's really important, and great work from TJ to get that going. I know she's been doing great work in that space for several years, so it's good to see that it's having the impact that it should be.
Well said. Are you ready to go down memory lane now?
I am, yes.
Yeah? You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Some good stories here, actually.
Right.
First of all, let's talk about when you were an academy player at Charlton. You joined at 13?
14.
14. What was that like?
It was great because I was quite late into the system. So back in the day, down memory lane, district football was a big thing. So playing for your district, and everybody already had a club, and I was one of the last to get picked up. About 18 months previously, I'd had a short trial at Chelsea, one of your old clubs, and
this is one of his old clubs.
And this was one of your old clubs. But they said that they were only looking for exceptional players at the time, and I wasn't an exceptional player in their opinion at the time. So I still remember those words. It was quite sobering at the time. But so it felt like a second chance coming and getting an opportunity at Charlton, where the reaction was completely different, and the club really took to me and made a long-term commitment to me very quickly. So that was fantastic.
Academies have changed a lot now, haven't they?
Well, they have, and I think the personal touch of the manager is out of it as well, because you know the manager's role was complete really from the youth team, academy upwards, whereas probably a lot of managers now just deal with the first team, so probably never see what's going on underneath.
Yeah. We'll just enlarge that a little bit in a minute or so. We've heard though that the under-18s used to kick the ball outside Curbs' office. Is that right? Can you enlighten us on that?
we were young and we were excited to be at the club, and particularly when we started our scholarship. For some reason, we thought it'd be a good idea to start smashing footballs next to the gaffer's office before training even started. And yeah, word got round to us very quickly that's probably not the best idea to do that. So stop doing it. Basically.
Do you know about that, Curbs?
No.
You didn't hear that?
I'm waiting for the punchline.
No. There's no punchline, but it was something that very quickly.
Who was the other culprits?
A lot of short lessons.
One of his burns.
A lot of quick lessons were learned in those early weeks of just how you need to conduct yourself around first team and the manager and etc.
Okay, well we know that Curbs is a great guy both on and off air now. What was he like back in the day? Because I'm hearing he wasn't talking to the young lads. Is that right?
Well, we used to. You're putting me on the spot here. We used to have a little.
I can't do nothing now.
We used to laugh and joke because you tended not to say much to the boys. You used to get you're right, and that was pretty much it.
We still get that now. That's it.
That was it. So you're never sure where you were with the gaffer because you only ever got you're right, and that was it.
In terms of that and what you're hearing there now, was that generally something that you meant to do? Was that something that was just a natural, you just go and say hello? I mean, you didn't have to say hello to the youngsters.
It surprised me a little bit because obviously when we first took over, especially me and Gritty, we was desperate for the young players to come through and be given a chance, as you well know. And no, so perhaps I was preoccupied. There was other things going on at the training ground.
We can only begin to imagine how stressful it is being a football manager as well.
As
probably lucky to get hello.
As I said earlier, he was responsible for everything at the football club. As just opposed now, most managers just responsible for the first team.
Yeah. Okay. You went on to make your senior debut. What, May 2003? Remember where?
Of course.
Manchester United, Old Trafford. Is that a day you'll remember forever? And can you remember what Curbs and Merv said to you going on?
Yeah, I do actually. It was quite a bizarre sort of 24 hours because I remember we did the team shape on the Friday, and you won't remember, but Martin Tyler was at the ground that day.
Mervin's friend, that's right.
And he was asking me questions about what school did you go to and where's your family from, and I didn't understand why he was taking such a keen interest on me. So I'm assuming someone knew that I was going to be involved the following day. So on the day, obviously, really excited. I've been on the bench a few times before, so it wasn't my first time on the bench. But I remember we got to around, whenever it was, the 70-odd minute, and I remember you saying to me, do you want to come on?
Was you going to say no?
I said, yeah. Like,
of course I do. Did you really want to, or was it a bit like...
No, I genuinely wanted to, because in my head, how I looked at it on the day is I've been warming up for the whole day, and the white line was literally a yard. I've only got to cross that line, literally, metaphorically, one step, and I'm on the pitch, and I've fulfilled a childhood dream. So when...
And who was the forwards?
On the day, it was Ruud van Nistelrooy was playing, Ryan Giggs was playing. They had their full complement out that day. But I had no doubt that I wanted to get on that pitch because I've been watching these players for years on Match of the Day with my dad, and the gaffer's asking me a question, and it's a no-brainer to say.
Did you go on for Brownie?
I came on for Kish. Kish I came on for.
Some baptism of fire, that though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So what was it? You made your debut and then you had to wait over 3 years? Is that right, before playing first team football again?
It was...
Still young at that point, but how difficult was that?
It was hard to take and to explain because obviously you make your debut so young and so early, you just naturally think, because you think the appearances are just going to keep coming. And they didn't, and it was frustrating because some of your friends your peers are starting to make appearances and they're starting to play more regularly. So it was difficult, and I did go to the gaffer and ask to go out on loan after a couple of years of travelling with the squad, and I went to Bristol City for a few months just to play some first team football, particularly after a long-term injury as well. That was really important to me. But I loved being around the group. I loved travelling with the team, but obviously not playing games. Looking back, hindered me, I believe.
Okay, let's fast forward sort of 12 months after your debut and to the summer of 2004, pre-season trip to China. How good an experience was that?
Yeah, China was an interesting trip. It was a great trip, and not so much for the performances that we put out, because it was a difficult climate, humidity. I'm not sure we gave the best account of ourselves, if I'm being perfectly honest, but it was great to say I've been able to go to that country.
Not because of any unauthorised nights out or anything like that, Osei? Listen, since Curb started CharltonTV, right, he's heard so many stories that he didn't know, so come on, we haven't heard of for a few
And
weeks.
you can't get fined or anything?
No, you can't find me now. No, we did manage to find our way out of the hotel and to a certain nightclub, which I don't know what it was, but I still remember it vividly in my mind. Keith Peacock in the lobby and us sneaking behind some taxis trying not to get caught. Which
you never want to let Keith down.
It's quite funny. Yeah, maybe another eagle eye might have caught us. Maybe the gaffer or Merv might have caught us, but Keith was oblivious. Keith was away with the ferry. Keith might have been on the way out as well. Who knows?
He might have been on the way in.
Yeah.
He might have just seen it and said, "Okay, I'm going to keep it quiet here."
He might have just told me the ones he wanted to tell me about.
Yeah, I mean that's some trip though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did the club feel like at that particular time that, you know, wow, this is the big time?
I think we went to Shanghai, didn't we? And yeah, the climate wasn't the best. It forever raining and you know, damp and a little bit down. But no, it was a time when the Premier League was spreading, and it's spread now. I mean, it's incredible. But it was just starting to spread, and people, clubs were thinking that perhaps, you know, you could go to certain countries and build some support up and rapport. And I mean, China's the biggest country ever, isn't it? So,
absolutely.
You know, but I don't know how it worked out. My memory from the trip was that we lost Klaus Jensen. He ended up leaving us, and because he was out. He wasn't out of contract, but he had a clause in his contract, and he left us and went to Fulham. Yeah. Biggest mistake he made, I think.
Yeah, of course it was. Of course it was. And we just saw a little snippet of that there. I want to ask you about your Italian. Have a look at this.
Tourists learn how to order a coffee, but for footballers it's more important to know the Italian for Omni Ed Son. 4 Charlton apprentices are being taught the very basics, which will help them make the most of a special 5-day training session at Inter Milan.
It will add to my game. It will show me how to beat players, body language on the pitch, and could even relax me. It will make me a better player, be a better player.
Charlton Museum, that we managed to dig that out, that golden clip for that fantastic video archive too. How young were you there?
No, 14, I believe.
Do you remember that?
14. Yeah, I do, because my dad used to film everything. So you might have remembered, or maybe not. My dad used to film every single youth team game. He used to bring the tripod, big camera and everything. Would never be allowed now, but he literally filmed every single game. So there's still a shelf of VHS cassettes, and that clip that we just saw, that's on one of those.
I thought you looked younger when you ran on at Old Trafford.
VHS cassettes, brilliant. Remember those?
I know.
Showing our age now, aren't we? But I mean, that must have been an exciting time to have a little partnership with Inter Milan.
Yeah, things were bubbling up here. You know, we got into the Premier League and we're doing okay, and people were taking notice of the club. So
did you try to tie up Christian Vieri on loan? Or
yeah, no, I was accused of not taking a certain player, but I don't think it ever crossed my desk.
Who?
No, I can't mention it.
Why can't you?
No.
No one's watching.
No, just everybody around the world.
Okay. Well, look, we'll have to leave it there in terms of memory lane. But obviously, look, that was really good watching that, and I hope you enjoyed it too. And of course, hopefully you can bring us a good result today. So we'll look forward to that one. Okay, let's bring it back down around to present day, shall we? It's been a tough couple of weeks, I think, of that. There's no doubt. But one player who's been stand out for me anyway is George Dobson, and he caught up with CharltonTV yesterday.
To obviously go from where we felt like we was on a good run with 1-3 in the bounce on the league to then now in a run where we've lost 4 on the bounce. It's obviously a tough place. It's a position no one wants to be in, but it's only us who can get ourselves out of it. So we've got to stick together, obviously be better, and make sure that come Saturday for the Sheffield Wednesday game, we're ready to not just put in a positive performance, but get the result. been in these situations before. Once you start getting on a run where you lose a couple of games, 2, 3, it is tough. But it's where you've got to be mentally strong to get yourself out of the situation, and then turn it the other way and make it the start of a really positive run. So that's what we're going to be looking to do. When you lose such important players in a certain position, obviously like Jaden, Connor and Chuks are massive parts to the way we play, and it is obviously tough when they don't play, but we can't use that as an excuse. There's obviously always going to be injuries. Obviously it's been a little bit unlucky that there's been that many in a certain position, but we've got to find a different way of winning games and scoring goals. So it's stuff we've been working on, but we've obviously got to make sure that we're more clinical with our chances.
Commentary in the right-hand corner. Dobson in with a challenge, but Commentary rides that, and a sliding challenge this time from Dobson puts it out of play.
You get players like Georgie who will do that, who will just make sure, look, I'm not going to go under here, so I'm going to get tight, I'm going to try and make a few challenges, I'm going to try and make an impression on the game, even though it looks like we're going to lose. And he's making sure that he tries to make as many challenges as he can.
I'd like to think lead by example by the way I try and play. Obviously, someone who gives everything every time that I step out onto the pitch. But I think the things where people talking before the game and that they're just words, and words are cheap really if you don't then put that into action. So you can do as much talking as you like, but the most important thing is then in putting it into action on the pitch. So we've got to make sure that come Saturday, we're obviously not just talking, but we're making sure that we're doing it out there and putting in a really good performance that will warrant a result that we deserve.
Look, Curbs, you came back off your holiday, you got us 3 wins on the bounce, and now it's 4 defeats as well. I have to say, though, throughout that time, George has been superb, hasn't he?
Well, I think he's been, ever since he's got back in the side. I mean, he was completely ostracised, wasn't he, under Nigel Atkins, wasn't getting a game. And then suddenly when Jacko took the job at Sunderland, he was brought back in with 1 or 2 others. And he's been arguably our best player, consistently best player. And you know what you're going to get. And I think he got took off on Tuesday before he got sent off because he was getting angrier and angrier and angrier. He'd already been booked. But he's the sort of player I would have took. Because I think he looks like he trains like he plays, and he's full on. So I couldn't quite work out why he didn't really feature when Nigel was here. But he's grabbed his chance, and he's #1 in the midfield at the moment.
Don't want to call it he does the ugly side to the game, but should we say the least sexy side in terms of sitting in front of the back forward and rattling about. But they're so important, those players, aren't they?
Yeah, and you can hear in his voice and his tone that he means business. He's not here to mess around, and he doesn't mind doing the dirty stuff that you've just mentioned. And the predicament the side find themselves in, they could do with 11 of those really, or 11 of those kind of mentalities to make sure that we get a result today and finish the season in a respectable position, and hopefully in the top half as well.
Fans will be able to vote for the player of the season soon enough. I think he'd be right up there, wouldn't he?
Yeah, because you can see, even with the massive disappointment on Tuesday, he got clapped off because they could see that he put everything into it, especially the last challenge in the corner. You could see that he was getting one more challenge and he was going to get done again, wasn't he? So Jacko had to bring him off in the end.
Yeah. OK, as we already said, it was a difficult game against MK Dons on Tuesday. Let's take a look back at that, shall we? And again, we didn't actually start too bad, Curbs, did we? But how would you assess it a few nights on, days on? Yeah,
we did start OK, but there was worrying signs. The last 3 or 4 games where they've been turning their back 3 around, and it's happened quite a bit. But you just got the feeling that, and I'm not trying to criticise up top, in the forward positions, but you just felt that we were going to struggle to score a goal, and as soon as we let one in, it's going to be very, very difficult for us. And they got a bit of luck. How the ball ends up, I think it takes a bit of a ricochet, doesn't it, and it ends up there. Oh no, this is it. Yeah, it's a fantastic ball from Coventry, in behind Matthews, and they was forever trying to do that, running in behind us and trying to exploit the spaces in between the full-backs or the
teams
wing-backs.
have targeted us in that
Yeah.
sort of 3-5-2.
Yeah, but and then I don't think we ever recovered from that, really. I think that once we went one down, it was mainly MK Dons.
Obviously, 5 senior attacking players out injured at the moment, 8 or 9 senior players in total. When you're missing men in terms of numbers, but also key personnel, it makes it so difficult, doesn't it?
Yeah, and when the results aren't going your way either, it almost doubles down on the feeling within the squad. You go a goal down, you know, your main men aren't around to dig you out of a hole. It's really tough, and you might need an ugly 1-0 scrappy last-minute goal away from home to rebuild that confidence. But sometimes you're in a damage limitation phase, and I think the club are in a little bit of that at the moment.
I think for me, when you think about that, 2 wing-backs scored. And I couldn't imagine us getting our wing-backs at the same time, both as high up the pitch. We never kept the ball long enough in the final third for that to happen.
Even though we've had wingers playing wing-backs, I think you're right, they can make assists, but actually Ben, when he's played that left wing-back role, has got right up there and has scored goals as well, hasn't he?
I think, when, you know, perhaps try to see me on the other side as well. When them two and we were playing quite well, it seems that one would cross it and the other one would be in there, but on Tuesday that was never going to happen because we never kept the ball long enough.
Yeah. 90 minutes for Sam Lavelle, that was definitely a positive, wasn't it?
We're saying that you know, the position we find ourselves in, I'd like to get 3 points as soon as possible, and you know, we're not going anywhere after that, and if that's the case, then why can't we blood a few of the young lads? I did say Lavelle had to play.
Yeah.
We've got to keep him fit. We've got to get him fit and keep him fit because we know he's definitely going to be here next year. But is there going to be an opportunity that we could give 1 or 2 of the young boys a chance once we feel comfortable? You know, the boy Kanu up top, you know, everyone's talking about him. Well, I know we've got Burstow, but, you know, why not see him if we're in a position we can do that?
Let's have a look at the Charlton team again then, shall we? 2 changes from Tuesday. It is that 3-5-2. There's 2 wing-backs who are predominantly full-backs, so certainly looking for it to try and be solid defensively.
Yeah, and I think we need to, and I would imagine
we're
that...
not going to, well, I never say never, but
no.
we're not going to score 2, are we? So
no, but I imagine that Dobson and perhaps Gilby or Albion, or one of them, that we will have a solid 2. You know, because we've got to stop conceding.
Yeah.
And if we get a chance, then try and get up there to support Burstow. Elliot Lee, I want to see Elliot today, you know, perhaps be higher up the pitch, and if we can get decent balls into him, he's the one person that can unlock a defence. So let's see if we can manage to do that.
Let's have a look at Sheffield Wednesday's side. We'll come onto the pitch in a minute. That looks terrible. In fact, we actually haven't got Sheffield Wednesday. Yes, we have got Sheffield Wednesday's side. There we go. 3 changes. Sam Hutchinson, Callum Patterson, and Saido Berahino is in. I mean, look, you have to say, remember their first opponents of the season? 0-0. Relegated last season. The aim was automatic promotion. That's not going to happen, but the playoffs are definitely on. In great form, has to be said, won 6 of the last 8. Talk about the injuries and going sort of strikers. Lee Gregory and Josh Windass, as well as Nathaniel Mendes-Lang, are all out, thankfully. But you have to say there's some class players in there, isn't there? You know, look at Massimo Luongo. There's Jack Hunt, who's got the experience as well. Number 10, Barry Bannon, player you must like, Curbs.
Yeah, and you know, it just shows you the size of their squad. They've managed to keep them fit. But Darren Moore's an experienced manager, and you know, he went through a rocky period halfway through the season, but they're on their way back, and they're in a good run of form, and they've had a week off.
Yeah.
And once again, no disrespect, but they will look at our team, like Cole Robinson did, and go, well, is this a good time to play Charlton?
Yeah. Obviously, they only lost 2 home games all season, and they actually have the best home defence in League One. How do we approach this?
It sounds daunting, but what you can't do is give them any reason to get their tails up, let that crowd get carried away and get excited and take an easy 3 points. They've got to make this game as difficult as possible, quiet that crowd if you can, and you know, be strong. They've got the opportunity with the shape to, you know, make sure they're really solid at the back with a 5 out of possession, etc. So, you know, for me, it's just you can't concede early and cheaply. For me.
Now, I've got a bit of news for you two. We're struggling to get comms at the moment, so we might have to talk over this game.
Okay, no.
Curbs, you want to be Martin Tyler?
Okay, no.
It should be fun. Let's talk about the pitch. I mean, that
Well,
doesn't look great.
it probably
Curbs,
looks,
is it?
it probably looks a little bit worse than what it is, you know. It's probably wet, and we've had a bit of rain up there, so that'd be all right, I think. So once again, you talk about the stadiums in this league, you know, and you think Division 3, which is what we are.
Yeah.
A lot of the stadiums will be tiny and cramped and whatever, but they're not.